All right. So to understand a bit more about JavaScript, we are going to walk through a very simple example. And in this walkthrough, we will create a simple web page that would allow us to see JavaScript in action. Before I start, it's good to say that we're going to walk through this example step by step. So I would love it if you can be doing this in tandem with me so that helps you learn and that helps you understand what I'm doing. So it's okay to pause at any point in time so that you can do the step that I just did and then continue the video once you've been able to reenact that step. So the first thing we're going to do, we will create a new folder called JavaScript Training. This folder would hold all examples and all exercises we're going to do in this course moving forward. Okay, so as I said, we will create a JavaScript training folder, and there I am creating mine, and I just need to rename it. Okay, once we've created our JavaScript training folder, the next step is for us to create another folder called JavaScript label. So this is where this actual example is going to reside in. Right, so let's go into our JavaScript training folder, and then I create a new folder called JavaScript label. Okay, now that's all done. Let's move on to the next step. And our next step is to open Visual Studio Code and create a new file. If you haven't seen the first video of this course, I put the link there to download Visual Studio Code. But nevertheless, if you don't have Visual Studio Code now, you can just look for it online and it's free to download. Okay, this is my Visual Studio Code. Don't worry if yours looks a bit different. They have very different color schemes. And I'm just going to create a new file here. And there it is, my new file. Okay, now that step's done. Our next step is to save the file as index.html in the JavaScript label folder. So essentially, we're going to save it as a web page. So there we go. File, save. Okay, all done. Okay, so now we get to the interesting part. Now we will add some HTML to our file that creates a basic web page which has a purple label in it. Remember that all source code for this module can be found in the Google Drive link that was shown in the overview video. And so for this HTML code, we will be copying it from that Google Drive link. So when you navigate to the Google Drive link, you should see a JavaScript label folder there. Go ahead and double click on that. In that folder, you should see a few files. The one we are after is the index.html file right here. Right click on it and click on preview, the first context menu there. And here we can see the HTML code. So we can go ahead and select all and just do a copy. Okay, we go back to our Visual Studio Code. And in our file, we just do a Ctrl-V to paste. And we can see it's basic HTML and has a very simple paragraph tag in the body. And pretty simple web page. Okay, now that we've entered our HTML code in our file, let's click on Save and let's go to the JavaScript label folder and we'll double click on the index.html file to see what it looks like. Okay, pretty simple web page. there's a purple label that says player 1 Chris. If we click on it, it doesn't do anything yet. We're going to put in some JavaScript code for it to be a bit more interactive. If your web page doesn't look like this, please rewind a little bit just to see where you might have missed one or two things out. Now we get to the very exciting part of this example. We are going to add some JavaScript code to get a bit more interactivity in our label. So the next thing we're going to do is to add a script tag, and then we will add some JavaScript code. Now, I haven't covered a lot on JavaScript code yet, so it's okay if you do not understand the code we're about to use as of yet. We will cover all of this concept in later modules, so please don't panic. Just go with the example and let's see JavaScript in action. All right, we're going to go back into our Google Drive, and in the same folder, there's a file called index_complete.htm. So let's go ahead and preview that. And there we can see our HTML code, but we can see something called script and the script tag with some JavaScript code there. So let's go ahead and just copy just all the elements from script to the end of the script tag. This is the JavaScript code we're going to add to our HTML file to see a bit more interactivity from our label. Like I said, don't worry if you don't understand what the code means for now. Just copy and paste and let's see how it works. So once we are back in our Visual Studio Code, I'm going to place the script tag and the code just after the paragraph element here, right there, and I'll paste it there, and you can see my script code is just after the paragraph element and just before the end of the body tag. So you can go ahead, click on save, and then we will see how this works. So once we're back in our JavaScript label folder, I see the index.html file there. Double click on it. Yeah, and now the difference is if I click on this label, aha, a pop-up comes up. Now we are seeing JavaScript in action. So I can put in my name. It's asking for my name or asking for a name. I put in my name, I click on OK, and voila, I see that the label has changed from player 1 Chris and it's now player 1 Tolu. And that's just a bit of what JavaScript can do. But we will cover far more things that JavaScript can do in later lessons.